one of the challenges, and one of the things I respect about Jessica's work here, understand she's come up from a North Iowa environment, which 99% of us in the room have, but working on a product that doesn't match this crowd, right? So she's going to have to find that target audience somewhere, and that's probably not going to be here. Fair enough, right? Rachel, what's running through your mind? Question, please.
How does the shoe work? Does it clip on, or how does it work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually wish I could have brought my prototype with me here today, but Iowa State has this huge week-long break right now, and I was actually in Iowa City on Thursday night, and I couldn't go back to Ames because we had the huge snowstorm that hit us down in central Iowa. So I unfortunately wasn't able to bring that prototype to show you all, but I was planning on it. But yeah, that's a great question. So this is my very first drawing, which is not anything what it looks like today. So you always have to constantly develop your product once you discover new things. So it's completely changed this, but my design roommate actually drew these up for me because I have no design background whatsoever, and I can't draw anything. I can't even draw like a stick figure, really. So this is what it looked like originally, and I used this to just explain to people what I wanted to do, and it helped to get the visual across. So essentially, I kind of thought it would originally first start out with it kind of screwing in, and then it could kind of like screw out. But then once I actually uncovered more research on how actually high heel shoes are made, that design will never work. So let me see if I can find. So this right here is kind of the anatomy of a high heel shoe. Right in the center of the high heel, right here, it's a big metal component that really has the high heel shoe that really holds its support, and that's called the shank. And that is made, every single high heel shoe is made just like that currently. So I had to really work around that because if it has that big metal component right in the middle of the shoe, it could never fold into a flat. So I'm actually working with the College of Engineering at Iowa State right now, and we're trying to come up with how can we really design this to actually make it work, and how can it actually hold a woman's weight when she's walking in a high heel shoe. So right now, how the product's designed, have you ever looked at the drawer base and kind of look at the sliding component that holds the drawer? Like, it's kind of like the track is what they call it. Do you all know what I'm talking about? So that's kind of what the high heel is going to be doing. So it's going to just slide right in there. It's going to have a track that just guides the high heel shoe right in there. And maybe I can draw this out, and maybe it'll help resonate with some people. So you have the high heel shoe, and like I said, I'm not good at drawing. Okay, so that is a shoe, promise. As I was talking about, right here is that middle component that goes all the way down like this. And then I'll use a different color. My drawing's so bad, it's going to be hard to follow me. So when the high heel comes sliding out, the whole metal component comes with it. So you have, it's kind of shaped like a really messed up V when it comes sliding out, but that'll allow the shoe to have more flexibility when it goes into a flat. So that's how it's going to work as of this point in time. But whenever someone's developing a new product, there's always several different prototypes that come out just because you want to have the product do this instead of that, or customers say, I want the product to do this for me. So you kind of always have to rework your prototype and just make sure that it's what the customer essentially wants in the end. So I'm sure that won't be the final design, but as of right now, that's kind of what we're going with. So yeah, any other questions?
I have two.
Yeah.
It's two-part. Okay, I know you're working really hard right now. This takes off. What are your plans when this just works? You can sell shoes. It kind of just does its thing. What more do you have in your pipeline?
Mm-hmm.
And number two, with that, why don't you think about going on Shark Tank?
Okay.
Do you have plans to go on Shark Tank?
That's a great question. So I'll answer that one first. So when I was at the CEO conference, I got the chance to meet a whole bunch of really important people, CEOs of like big companies, like the founder of Redbox, the CEO of Sprint, all these just really big names that actually are there for free. No one's paying them to be there. They're there on their own time to talk to students, and they allow you to do one-on-one sessions with them as well. So if you're starting a business or you have this idea and you go up to someone and say, that's made millions of dollars and it was really successful, and you say, hey, what do you think of this idea? They're going to give you honest feedback. And they're going to say, hey, I have this connection that's in the manufacturing industry that could really help you out. Let me introduce you to them. So it's really important to do networking and different opportunities that you have on campus while you're still a student. So I actually met somebody who knows Damon John, which is one of the sharks on Shark Tank. He's the big fashion guy. And he said, or the person I met, he said, hey, if you put together a 30-minute pitch video, I'll show it to his staff, which are essentially the people that approve certain good ideas and disapprove different ideas. So I was like, yeah, I'll definitely do that, and I have to send it in to him by the middle of December. And then if his staff approves it, then they'll show it to him. And then maybe he'll contact me, maybe he won't, I don't know, but we'll see how that goes. So it's always important just to network with people and just share your different ideas, because if you don't share them, you're not going to ever get any feedback on them. So that can never really help you grow. That's one thing that if you learn anything today, just know that networking is key to anything you do. Even if you don't want to start your own business, if you just want to, be a business professional working on someone else's business, it's always important to network because they're going to help you out in your career. To answer your second question, what was it again? I'm sorry.
I wanted to know where you're at, what you're doing, like for planning for the future, because this is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you have other things that you're planning to do when somebody's selling these for you, maybe?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So kind of looking at the business models that people can do when they're starting up a business, what I vision happening with my business here, I want to license it out. So essentially when I create this prototype, and when I uncover all the market research that I have to uncover before I actually try to go out and sell this idea and this product, I want people to buy it from me and then use their distribution channels, use their manufacturers, different people like that, because I have no knowledge in that kind of an industry. So I can't compete up with Macy's, I can't compete up with Michael Kors at this point in time. So it'll take me years to actually develop that brand and have customers be loyal to my brand. So the easy way is just to license it out and then go on to the next big best thing. So I'll answer your question in just one second. So as business people, it's always important to understand the different market trends that are out there and understand when the next big wave is coming in. So it was selfie sticks for the longest time. People were buying selfie sticks. Pretty much everyone was buying a selfie stick. I even bought one, honestly. I don't know why. I was kind of ashamed of myself, but I bought one. So understanding those different trends and waves that come in, what's the next big best thing is always really important. And also understanding when to get out of a certain market. So we were talking about the product life cycle earlier, and you said, what are you going to do when your product reaches maturity? And I said, just research and develop. But sometimes businesses aren't successful if they do that. Even if they funnel a whole bunch of money into research and development, sometimes they still fail. So always understand when it's the best time to get out of a certain industry or a certain business, because industries do go under, businesses do go under, even if you are one of the big, best, top companies over the longest period of time, you can still fail. So that's kind of what I have for that question. So yeah, always just keep your eyes and ears open and just understand if customers say they want something, listen to them. So I hope that answered your question. And you had a question back there.
Yeah. Do you plan on getting a patent for this idea?
Yeah, so intellectual property is really important. At this point in time, I don't have the final prototype developed, so I don't currently have a patent. And it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to actually get a patent, about $10,000 to $8,000, depending on how you file it. So as of this point in time, I'm not planning on getting a patent right now, but I will probably in a year or two, depending on what the final prototype looks like, and if I actually want to introduce that prototype to the market. So yes, it's really important to just always protect your property.
I'm intrigued, and I wanted to highlight kind of the other side of Andrew's question. So, and the part I think people should recognize, not evaluating this, what if this doesn't go? What have you learned? What have the emotions been? What will you just keep doing? Because the part I'd like to throw on the table is taking the day-by-day steps and what Jessica's done to get here. This one, or just whatever, it's about the process. Well, what have you learned, Jessica? And just, what emotions have you gone through? What's it felt like so far in the last few years?
Yeah, so it's been a lot of work. There have been dozens of people that told me, you should just not give up on this. It's never going to work. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting your money. This is never going to work. If it could have worked, it would have already been done. So I've been told no, no, no a lot of times. But deep down inside, you kind of have faith in yourself, and you know that if you work hard at something that you might actually see it flourish and pay off. And I haven't given up on it yet, but there's a possibility this might not even go through, and I understand that risk. But then again, with entrepreneurship, basically whenever you're starting a business, there is still risk involved in that, but high risk, high reward. It just all is a matter of how smart you're being and how strategic you're being with your money. Because basically money is the number one thing that you need in a business, besides good people and good customers. So this could very well fall and plummet under, and I could have wasted dozens of days and thousands of dollars. But I think that if you really just try to be strategic in your thinking and understand the market before you just go out there and spend tons of money and think this is going to work, make sure that you understand it actually will work. And has anyone ever heard of the story of Zappos, how they really started up as a company? They're the big shoe online retail store. Well, I'll go ahead and share it real quick. So the guy that invented Zappos, actually, he put up a fake website. He put up a whole bunch of shoe listings and said, you know, I'm just going to see how this website does, and if people like these products, they'll click on them. If not, I haven't wasted any of my money and time. So people actually started buying those shoes, but he didn't have any product to sell. He had no product at all, but he was still getting money coming in because people actually wanted to buy those shoes. So he kind of used that as an indicator of, you know, is this actually going to work? Is this not going to work? And luckily for him, it did work. So I think it's just always important to just understand the market, and if the customers will actually buy it, because if they're not going to buy it, you're not going to be successful. I mean, granted, you might like the product, but you know, you're not going to be your only customer. So just always keep that in mind as well.
I promised Jessica wouldn't hold her up too long. Other comments or questions or things you wanted to address before we do a couple of quick things?
Yeah.
Like your market matrix, how would you go about doing your market matrix?
Are you talking about like the product price promotion?
Yeah.
4 Ps, I think I remember. Okay, I'm glad I remembered that. So.
Wow, way to go.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Just a minute.
Yeah, I had to think about that for a second, so I'm glad you guys are quizzing me on it. It's appreciate my skills. So, yeah, so when you say how am I going about my product matrix, are you talking about me understanding like where I'm going to put my product in stores and kind of who's going to be like where am I going to price it at?
Yeah, and
things
do
like
you
that.
have like a specific like brand that you're gonna sell, or are you gonna sell like a variety of different types of high heels, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lady in the last class that I spoke to yesterday, she said to me, now I want to be a wedding planner. I think that it would be very awesome if you were to sell to brides. And that kind of, you know, I haven't really been able to look that far ahead quite yet, just because I'm so focused on creating just the prototype of it. But I think that's very important as you look ahead and understand the different, how your business is going to pan out and play. So having a different product line would be very, I think, important, because then, say if you're trying to sell to the brides and the bridesmaids, that's one section of your business. And then you're also trying to sell to professional women that are executives in companies, CEOs, people like that. That's another section of your business. But then again, just the everyday woman that just wants a nice pair of high heel shoes, they might buy my product too. So understanding all those different kinds of personas is very important. So yeah, I do envision this product kind of being sold to different women that have different kinds of lifestyles. That way I have several different revenues flowing into me, into the business. So like I mentioned earlier, I think I want to license everything out. Therefore, when I license it out, someone else can have control over kind of what I do, essentially. And I can use their storefronts. So brick and mortar shops, have you guys learned that term? Have you guys ever heard of that term? So Macy's is like a brick and mortar shop. American Eagle is a brick and mortar shop. So anything that you can go into and sell a product physically out of that store, that could be a funnel, a way to do this, or Zappos is completely online, so they don't even have a store. So therefore I could use that business model too, and just, you know, have shipping costs and different things like that, and just ship everything to the customer. So I hope that answered your question. If not, feel free to tell me it didn't, and I'll try to answer your question.
Jessica, let me go back to the bigger picture about involvement.